This video is brought to you by Gamer Subs. Use code MHB at checkout for 10% off your next order. I've been making platinum based content for about 2 years at this point. I started my PlayStation account back in 2014, and from then to 2022 I amassed a whopping 7 platinum trophies. However, in 2022, the trophy hunting bug bit me once again, and it's sort of been history from then. In 2 years, I've gone from 7 platinums to 108. And since the last time I did one of these videos, I was at 55 platinums, I figured now is a good time to update the list by going over my entire platinum collection. I stream the whole thing over on my Twitch channel, and the VOD is on my second channel if you want a completely unfiltered ramble that is close to 2 hours long. If not, here's the short, nicely edited version. Alright, let's go all the way down to the bottom. We've got 6,665 trophies on this account, 108 platinums, and the beginning of my collection is terrible. It's why my completion percentage is so and it's just beyond repair, so I don't care about it. The reason I made this account, as you'll see, the first trophy I got on this account was back in 2014, at the end of 2014. So I just finished high school. At this point, I just had my PlayStation account terminated, my original one, for not being able to log in because I didn't log into to the email for a certain amount of time because I forgot the password, and I was like, okay, this is gone. So 2014 made new accounts, and I was like, oh, I'll just go for some of the platinums I already had on the old account. I'll do them again. And then this is where I was like, maybe I don't want to do this anymore. Maybe I don't like trophy hunting. And this basically was the case all the way up until 2022. We do have some platinums along the way, but it was, a lot of me just playing games, being like, yeah, let's go for the trophies, and then basically getting a little in, and I was like, nah, I can't be bothered. I just couldn't be asked. I also was going through phases of playing a lot on PS4, then going over to Xbox, then going on PC, and there was games I gave a fair shake at, like Injustice. I've got 32 out of 51 trophies. Like, if they required too much work, I usually would, like, at this point, I was like, nah, I'm not bothering with them. But yeah, the first platinum I ended up getting all the way back in 2015 was Rocket League. Now, Rocket League, the platinum wise was just like play the game a bunch, and and that's what I did. I played the hell out of it. Tried to keep up with 100% stuff at the time, and then it just eventually, so many updates, I was like, I'm okay. That's the first platinum on this account. But again, like at this stage, like if I got a platinum, it was more, I just either played it a bunch or they're pretty easy. But yeah, as you can see, kind of just was getting platinums when I felt like it. This one was a weird one. Middle Earth Shadow of Mordor, 2017. But as you can see, the gap was crazy. I don't know what it was, but I had like 50 out of the 52 trophies. 2017, I finally was like, let's get this last trophy. Yeah, this game is great though. I do want to redo this one because it's got 3 trophy lists, I believe. So we could do this one again. DLC again. I didn't really worry about it. I was happy with my platinum, as I still usually am. But Watch Dogs 2, I don't think this was that far after, so I actually had a decent little run here. Yeah, 2017 again. I don't remember this being too bad either, in all honesty. I think there was a couple of multiplayer ones, if I'm not mistaken, which might be these sorts of trophies, but outside of that, I really enjoyed Watch Dogs 2. I don't know how it would hold up revisiting it. It looks a little cringe in retrospect, but I enjoyed it enough at the time to get a platinum trophy when I wasn't getting them. So the Order 1886, I describe this as basically the best $10 to $20 game you'll play. It's a good time if you get it for a very cheap price. This game at launch was way too expensive for what it was. Platinum wise, it was just basically get the collectibles and do a couple of combats related things. Not too bad at all. 2017 again. If you haven't played this game, you can definitely get it for cheap, and I think it's worth a try. But yeah, for like 3 years, I didn't really go for, again, I sort of just was like, here, like 2017, I got 3 platinums, which is probably the most outside of 2022 when I got back into it. But yeah, now we're into 2020, and I think this was, February 2020. But yeah, Jak and Daxter, there's not really much to say about this. It's just a great platformer. I sort of wish they kept Jak and Daxter in this sort of realm. I do enjoy Jak 2 and 3, which we'll talk about later in this video, but Jak 1 is just pure nostalgia for me. And like collecting, like the collectathon elements are really not that bad. There's a reason and it's something I did before the rest of them, which are much later in the video. Then we have Ghost of Tsushima. I've never played the DLC. Like, I've played some of the multiplayer, but I've never done the Iki Island stuff, which I do want to check out at some point. But this was this is still, I've said it before, but this is genuinely still one of my favorites, if not my favorite platinum to date. It's phenomenal. If you don't have Ghost of Tsushima as a platinum, I don't care if you go for 100%, just the platinum itself is phenomenal. But here we are. We're finally in 2022, which was when, you know, the big shift happened for me in terms of like, oh, I think the platinum bug finally bit me. So we got Spider-Man remastered on the 28th of July, 2022. I mean, what do you say about this one? It's just it's a phenomenal game with a very simple plot. It just encourages you to do everything. Like, there's some things that are a little annoying, like doing the crimes in every district, but it's nothing that like was a game breaker. Like, I just had so much fun with it from start to finish, and it's the reason we are where we are now. And I was like, let's go for a 30-day challenge. Now, I've said this before, some of these games I don't really care for platinum-wise, but I'll point those out. But like, genuinely, there's a lot of really good games here, especially like to get someone into trophy hunting. I think there's some fun journeys here. Like Tales from the Borderlands, Telltale games, they're basically straightforward affairs, just play the game, play and beat the game. Tales from the Borderlands is my favorite Telltale game, so that was great. Lara Croft Go, a great puzzle game. Tacoma, really interesting sci-fi shorts, you know, type of story. I think it was like maybe 2 or 3 hours it took to platinum this one. Massive fan of Tekken. Tekken 7 I don't think was that difficult either. I think that was maybe like 8 or 9 hours it took. Sonic Origins, I'm still not the biggest Sonic fan, if I'm honest, even after playing all these games. I sort of understood the hype, I guess, but again, they're not my favorites. Black the Fall is probably one of those ones where it's like, it's sort of like Inside or Limbo, so it's interesting in that way, but it's a game I find pretty forgettable outside of that. Grim Fandango, genuinely still one of the best stories in gaming. Gameplay wise, I don't think it holds up very well, and puzzle wise, it is brutally difficult. But platinum wise, I think it's really good. Genuinely one of my favorite experiences from the 30-day platinum challenge. Everybody's gone to Rapture, like walking sim that I think first time playthrough is fun, and then I had to play it 2 or maybe even 3 more times because of a bug trophy. So that one lost some points pretty big there. Goosebumps the game is terrible. Insomnus is something I beat in like 30 minutes. Interesting horror game, but yeah, not a very, oh, I got this platinum. Darker Skies, another forgettable game back in 1995, like a PS1 retro style of game. Again, pretty forgettable. Telltale's Batman. I don't think it's Telltale's best, but I think it's a good Batman game. And again, it's Telltale, so pretty straightforward. Game of Thrones, though, terrible. Genuinely one of Telltale's worst games is Game of Thrones. It's miserable to play this thing. Deliver Us the Moon, I think I said in the video, but this is like one of my favorite like finds from the 30-day challenge, because this was a lot of fun and it is so immersive. Ape Escape, like that's a childhood classic, and that was a fun platinum, I'm not gonna lie. Spirit of the North, really beautiful game. Again, these are a lot of shorter games, but I think the 30-day platinum challenge is really good to experience like indie games. And Spirit of the North, if you haven't checked it out, is really interesting. Chicken Cart 2 is not, and I would never recommend it. It's genuinely up there with Golem with the worst platinums I've ever done, and this is only 3 hours long. A Tale of Paper, I think this is from memory like Little Nightmares-ish, but pretty forgettable outside of that. Donut County, on the other hand, such an amazing indie game. Very easy, very easy. It's like 2 or 3 hours long, but it's so simple and so satisfying. Just make hole bigger. That's the game. Goat Simulator was fun until I started going through some of the 100%, and I was like, these are miserable. And so was the Flappy Bird scored 10 points in Flappy Goat. This trophy can suck my ass. It was hours and hours of rage on that one, but you know, funny game, but nothing nothing too special. Moons of Madness is an interesting one as well. It's like a horror. Yeah, I was like, oh, is this like a Deliver Us the Moon type of thing? And it's like, no, this is like Lovecraftian sci-fi horror. It's interesting. Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, the only Ratchet & Clank game I have platinumed, I believe. This is a great game though. This is fantastic. It's my favorite Ratchet and Clank game. Very easy platinum. Again, probably like 12 hours to get, and that's without a guide. But yeah, just the game. This game is genuinely like up there with like Demon's Souls Remake as one of the best looking PS5 games. And when did it come out? Like the year after the PS5 launch? It's crazy. This one's a gimme, and you can see how much of a gimme platinum this is. 90.8% have gotten this platinum. It's like 15 minutes long. But Stormboy as a story is an Australian classic. I'm a justifier gimme if it's Stormboy, but... Pumpkin Jack, if you've not heard of this one, it's basically a medieval-inspired game, but you're Pumpkin Man. It's, you know, it's a very colourful, kidsy... Like, reminds me a lot of a PS1 era, just looks a bit nicer. It's fun. The medium... I believe this is developed by the people who made Silent Hill 2 Remake. I really enjoyed this game. The only thing that's annoying about it is how much the collectibles scared me. I was so scared of missing a collectible trophy the entire playthrough. I think it took me like 9 to 10 hours to get the platinum, but like obviously if you miss a collectible, you have to, there's no checkpoints. Chapter select. You have to go back and do it all again. Maneater. This is just a fun game. I've never done the DLC for this game. I don't even know what the DLC is about. But Maneater is genuinely just a fun video game. I think it's from the people who made Killing Floor, Tripwire, I believe. But yeah, just a really fun game. You play as a shark, you eat people, good time. Murdered Soul Suspect, I think best describes like an average, underrated video game, if that makes sense. Like, it's nothing special in a sense, but I've always enjoyed this game a lot, and I had a lot of fun revisiting it. Again, trophy-wise, just get the collectibles and solve the mysteries, and you're good. But I do recommend this one, if you've never played Murdered Soul Suspect. And then we have South Park: The Stick of Truth. We also have Ghost of Tsushima, which was a part of the 30-day challenge. But I think I did some of the Legends mode. But yeah, genuinely the most annoying auto pop I've ever done is this, is Ghost of Tsushima. I wish I never did it. I wish I could platinum the game again legit for a video, but there you go. But yeah, South Park: Stick of Truth. We've been talking about it in the Fractured Butthole playthrough, but this is a game I enjoy, probably a little more than Fractured Butthole, but in terms of a platinum, is filled with so many missables, it's not funny, and you basically cannot, if you want to get the platinum in one playthrough, you have to have a guide. Otherwise, you'll be playing again, and you'll have to have a guide the second time anyway, so yeah. But Stick of Truth, if you've never played it, phenomenal game. My name is Mayo. I did this to see what shovelware games were like and to illustrate what type of videos games we weren't going to be doing in the 30-day challenge, but you know, it's stuck on my account, and that's my excuse. Okay, I didn't do it because I wanted to. I did it for the entertainment. But yeah, that was where the platinum bug bit me. Obviously, as we go on, a lot of these have videos on them. So the Callisto Protocol, I think, there's so much DLC for this game. There's some of it I'm interested to see, but not enough to re-download the game. The Callisto Protocol, I think the more time has gone on, I'm just like, oh yeah, that was... Like, at the time when this game launched, I was like, it's pretty good, I enjoyed myself. And then as time goes on, I'm like, yeah, that wasn't really the best. It's not a bad game. Yeah, I mean, trophy-wise, it's not too bad, except for beat the game on maximum security, which is genuinely not easy. The combat's interesting. I like the aesthetic and stuff, and I don't mind, like, the story of it all, but it doesn't live up to Dead Space, which it kind of was trying to do. Mass Effect, again, one of my favorite platinums. I think, yeah, the first one we got in 2023. Yeah, trophy-wise, it's just a lot of combat, a lot of completing side missions and that type of thing. Good time. I do need to get back to Mass Effect games, though. Save Room, another pretty easy platinum. I think it took you like an hour or maybe even two. Something you don't need a guide for, just a very Resident Evil style inventory puzzle game, but I enjoyed it. This is probably where I differ from a lot of people. I do have The Last of Us Part 1's platinum. I still have the footage for a potential video. I never deleted it, but I think this is genuinely one of the most boring platinums I've gone after for a game that is as good as The Last of Us. Because all it is it's all collectibles. That's all it is. It's just not that interesting to talk about. So yeah, it wasn't a very fun time playing through the whole time with a guide. It's just like, ugh. Then Sleeping Dogs, Another open world. We did the 100% for this one. The DLCs aren't anything to write home about. They're pretty easy for trophy-wise, though. I would love another Sleeping Dogs or True Crime. Those types of games. They're really fun. For a time, I don't think it is as much anymore, but very underrated game. Deathloop, a game at release, I didn't really understand why it was getting so much praise, and now it's like one of my favorites from Arcane, genuinely. Like, I love the time loop mechanic. I love changing around, messing around with different scenarios and all that sort of thing. And it's not an easy platinum. It's got its challenges, which is enjoyable. Bully, I think in terms of a PS2 port on PS4, it's not the best. This is not the best way to play Bully. Look, Bully is a great game, and I really enjoyed revisiting it, but it's got some bullshit trophies on it. Like, travel 100,000 meters on foot, travel 50,000 meters on skateboard, 100 kilometers on the bike. Like, so yeah, not my favorite platinum, but as a game, I would love to see an actual remake for this. Ghostwire Tokyo, we've talked about it before. I think it's a really interesting game. I love the Japanese aesthetic and all the mythology and that type of thing. But collectible wise, this is miserable. Like, just way too many. I don't know what they were thinking. And I've never played the update. I got the platinum before the update had happened, obviously. Jedi Fallen Order. I still need to play Survivor, but Fallen Order is a great time. There's not really much else I can say. I think it's one of the best Star Wars games ever made, and I need to get around to Survivor. Now we got the fun ones. And some nice nostalgia. Battle for Bikini Bottom. I wouldn't say it's like a classic PS2 game, but maybe now it could be considered that. This game was just like memories galore, and it was so much fun to platinum. I think it was like 8 hours too, not too bad. Yeah, the Cosmic Shake I think is a better video game than Battle for Bikini Bottom. If you've never played Cosmic Shake, I do recommend it. I think it's great fun. The SpongeBob games, in terms of like old school like type of the PS2 platformers, you can't go wrong with these games. BioShock, I mean, what do you say about BioShock? It's genuinely one of the best video games ever made. Platinum-wise is pretty straightforward. Like, you gotta play it on the hardest difficulty without dying, but you can do that on New Game Plus. I mean, if you've never played BioShock, you need to reevaluate yourself. Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. I think I put this in a recent video of like platinums I recommend everyone get, and this is genuinely in there because it's just a fun game, man. It's a nice like 4 to 5 hour platinum. Get the memes with Watto. I mean, good game. Mortal Kombat 11. I think at this point, this was the most difficult platinum I was going after. And it's not even that difficult. Just mentally, it is so taxing. It sort of holds a special place in my heart in retrospect because it is one of the most popular single platinum videos I've done. But there's some brutal stuff in here. Like the amount of people I had comment about how hard the tutorials is no joke. The advanced and strategy tutorials are brutally difficult and they go forever. So yeah, this is a pretty high barrier to entry, but if you can get past that, that's genuinely the hardest part about it. Control, I do want to go back and get these DLC trophies done because at the time I'd played Control pretty recently and I'd done all the DLC stuff, so I was like, I don't really want to go back and do that. But as a platinum, I think this is up there with Remedy's best games. Control. I still need to play Alan Wake 2, but this is a phenomenal game, like genuinely. So if you don't have Control, get it. The Lego Movie. This was the 24-hour challenge we did, and we failed, but it was the first like Lego game I'd played that wasn't like Lego Star Wars, Lego Batman, that type of shit. So this is a really fun game. I've heard the second one is terrible, but this is a great time. Fast and Furious Spy Racers Rise of Shifter. This is up there with Chicken Cut and Golem as the worst platinum I've gone after. How do you make a Fast and Furious game a slow racing game? I don't know, but they did it. That's all I have to say on that one. Terrible game. The Ascent though, one of the most underrated games to this day. If you like cyberpunk, if you like RPGs, if you like interesting worlds and top-down customization, shooting, that type of thing, it's a twin-stick shooter, but it's good fun. It's good fun. BioShock 2. I had a miserable experience going for this. The game didn't want to save on my first playthrough. The DLC crashed on me, and then I lost all my progress, so I didn't go for the DLC. And I ended up having my footage corrupted. It was just it was not a fun experience, which is a shame, because as a package, and I know this is like controversial and not a hot take, but I prefer this as a complete package to Bioshock 1, because I think the gameplay is better. And the story, if you include the DLC, a good time. But yeah, Bioshock 2, I think as a game is great. I just had a really bad experience going for this platinum. Dredge, my favorite game of last year, no question about it. Well, I mean, it's like a chill fishing game, and then it's a horror game. It's it's just a dope video game. But yeah, Red Dead Redemption. This was a fun experience on stream with some of the most infuriating moments at the very end. The story was so much fun to play through. It was like 20 hours of having fun, enjoying the story, exploring the world, and revisiting this game. It's genuinely a good time. Same with going and playing Undead Nightmare again. But going for 100% on both the main game and Undead Nightmare is miserable, especially if you're like me and looking for a damn skunk for 3-4, I don't even know how many hours. It was like 3 or 4 hours of a stream, and that's all I needed. And then you got the Chupacabra and Undead Nightmare and all the rare stuff. It's got a lot of headaches that definitely dampened my overall experience. But yeah, one of those games that's a masterpiece of a video game meets a not very fun, in my opinion, platinum trophy. Hot Wheels Unleashed, again, like, this is one of those, as a game, I think it's really good. It just has some BS trophies right at the end that's like, why did you do this? Yeah, it's a lot of fun, but once you get to like reach the podium in 100 races, get a total of 100,000 coins, get 25,000 gears, like, this stuff is miserable. Which sucks because, yeah, again, as a game, the Hot Wheels video game is a lot of fun. Final Fantasy 15, the amount of DLCs on this is ridiculous. I hate that I have a platinum trophy at 46 overall percent, but it is what it is. But Final Fantasy 15, I was really glad to finally knock this off my backlog. I forget how many trophies I had exactly. It was like close to like half. There's some annoying trophies in here, like doing the fishing, going like the survival level and that type of thing. But overall, this was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed my time with this, and I do plan on doing some more Final Fantasy games in the future. I think it was around here, yeah, I was trying to get some games off my backlog for a video, and then I sort of just was like, I don't know how that works, but yeah, Jak 2 we finally got, just cleaned up some of the precursor orbs. Same with Jak 3, it's nothing really too exciting. I only had a couple of trophies left on these, but they were pretty easy to clean up, thankfully. Good times, but not as good as Jak 1 in my opinion. Battlefield Hardline. I think in my last update I was like, oh, this is going to annoy me forever because I'm only missing one trophy. And thanks to the Battlefield Discord and some lovely people over there, I was able to get the kills I needed, and yeah, never have to play this game again, which I enjoyed this game, so, you know, it is what it is, but I'm just glad I finally got the trophy. Spider-Man 2, yeah, we're not at 100% yet because it's got the New Game Plus. I'm disappointed this isn't getting any DLC. I enjoyed this game, I think it's a good game, but I do prefer the first game overall. But platinum-wise, this is like a breeze. You could do this no problem without like even knowing what any trophies are. Mortal Kombat 1. This was, for most of the time, like not too bad. Like 14 or 15 hours, I had 45 out of the 51 trophies. As a game, I think Mortal Kombat 1 is worse than Mortal Kombat 11. I think the fighting feels a little better. Overall, as a package, it's not very good, but some of the trophies in here were just like straight up paddock. Completing 5 cameo characters completely is miserable. It left a very bad taste in my mouth, and as a game, I just don't think it's a very good Mortal Kombat game. Then we got South Park: The Stick of Truth. I did it on PS3 for a 24-hour challenge. It's a joy. Like, I don't hate that I've done this twice. Like, these are some fun games to play. The platinums are just a little BS. And then we got the big one, South Park: Fractured Butthole. We're going for the achievements, but as you can see, I do already have the platinum. I'll talk about this more in the video that's coming out, but what can I say? Good game. Lego Lord of the Rings, still my favorite Lego game to date. I mean, it's Lord of the Rings and it's Lego, two of my favorite things. So like, can't really go wrong there. Platinum-wise, Lego games are pretty straightforward. Just don't hate yourself, like just rush through the first playthrough and then actually enjoy the levels and stuff on the second time through. And then we've got the misery of Borderlands. Now the platinum experience, if you just go for the platinum on Borderlands, it's actually pretty straightforward. It's probably like 25 hours at most. I would have had a much better opinion of this game if that's all it was. Unfortunately, we went for the 100%, and even though, you know, Zombie Island and Armory of General Knox are two really good DLCs, Mad Moxie is garbage, and Claptrap's Revolution, I think, is a fun DLC with just way too much RNG. And then we got God of War Ragnarok. Now, we actually got this back in, 2022, but obviously, as you can see, I also 100%ed it for the Valhalla DLC. I think Ragnarok is better than 2018, but I still think God of War 2 and 3 are the best in the series. And that's why I finally was like, let's just play Crash Bandicoot and have fun. I would platinum this game over and over again. I love the Crash Bandicoot games. Genuinely, like, the Crash Bandicoot trilogy is just one of my favorites. Lego the Hobbit, not as good as Lego Lord of the Rings, but a big surprise because I'd never played this game before. I wish the third movie was involved just to feel a bit more complete as a game, but outside of that, if you're looking for different Lego games, like, you can't go wrong with Lego the Hobbit. It's not a bad Lego game. Yeah, I just have fun with these games. Like, yeah, again, Crash 2, Crash 1 and 2 are definitely the hardest out of the trilogy. And then Crash Warped, if you're going in order, is a nice way to finish it, I think, because it's just like very much a step down in difficulty. And if you're looking for platformers to platinum, like, you can't go wrong with Crash Bandicoot. And then we went on our little Assassin's Creed binge where I properly burnt myself out on it for the year, but we got the Assassin's Creed 2 trophy platinum twice, once on PS4 and PS3. Probably the easiest out of the Ezio trilogy. Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. The only annoying thing about this is the 100% sync. Everything else is basically Assassin's Creed 2, but better. Except for the fact you have to do this tank mission without getting hit, and that shit is miserable. But outside of that, great game. And Assassin's Creed Revelations, this is when I was experiencing the burnout a bit more, but the DLC in this game is actually dreadful, and so is like the Desmond sequences, which is how I ended this game. It's probably why I have a bit more of a sour taste looking back at this compared to other games. But I mean, the game itself is great, and I love the change up, but yeah. The platinum-wise, the DLC and Desmond sequences, they are terrible. Republic Commando, again, like Fallen Order, I think is one of the better Star Wars games. It's a unique, like, first-person shooter, playing as the clones, fighting against the droids and the Geonosians and all that. It's a fun game, and playing it on hard is pretty easy. It's like a 10-hour platinum. Highly recommend this one. And this is where we start going on a streak. So we started off, this is when I think I was doing the weekly uploads. Like, I made that a priority. So Mafia Definitive Edition, probably one of the best remakes out there. Platinum wise, like, again, it's like all things, collectibles do hinder the experience. The big trophy is beating it on classic difficulty, and only because it's for beating the race on classic difficulty. It's a ball ache. Outside of that, a phenomenal experience. South Park Snow Day, probably the most controversial, I guess, opinion I had of the year was that I didn't despise this game. I don't think it deserved a 3 out of 10. I think it's a fine game. Just, I think being, 7 years removed from Fractured Butthole to just have this, if this was like the side project and then you also have another like Stick of Truth type of thing, it's not too bad. But Snow Day, I think, you know, nice short platinum, took me like 10 hours. I enjoyed it enough. Jak and Daxter Lost Frontier. I think, by the way, I think we're only missing Jak X, and then we have the Jak games all done. The Lost Frontier, it's not the best game, but it's not a terrible game if you look at it through the eyes of like a PSP game. It's just, this being the last Jak and Daxter game hurts, but it is what it is. The platinum-wise, it's not too bad, and game-wise, it's alright. Then we finally cleaned Demon's Souls Remake up. I love this game, but I hate that you have to follow a checklist to do this in a reasonable amount of playthroughs. If you don't have a checklist, this could take up to like 3 playthroughs, and no thank you. But as a game, I think it's great. yeah, the platinum experience wasn't the best, I'll be honest. Lego Star Wars 3, The Clone Wars. I'd never played this game before. Really big surprise. I'd been missing out. I really had. Yeah, The Clone Wars is great though. Highly recommend it. And it's probably out of the 3 we'll talk about, it was my favorite experience because it was like brand new. Fallout 76. I've said it before, I'll say it again. My favorite platinum experience of the year so far. This was so much fun to play with all of you guys, and like it had its moments of like, oh fuck, like going for a level 100 was like, I'm getting the burnout a little bit at this point, and hence why we didn't end up going for the DLC and all that sort of thing. But this was a lot of fun, and the quality of life updates this game has gone through over time. I genuinely think if you have negative memories with this game, it's worth retrying today just to see if you like it or you don't. Then we went back to back Lego Star Wars, which probably in hindsight was a bit of a mistake, but Lego Star Wars The Force Awakens is probably like way better than it has any right being. It's a Lego game based on one movie, and there's so much to it. It's genuinely a good time. Going for 100%, doing all the side missions, like it was something I really did enjoy, and I had fun going for the DLC as well. Like getting this 100% was great. And then you go to the Skywalker Saga, which as a game I think is fantastic. I think it's one of the best Lego games. And then you have the completionist side of things, and it's miserable. This is one of the most mentally taxing platinums I've done. No question about it. Yeah, the gameplay wise, I think it's great, and I would love to see this type of take on Lego, Lord of the Rings, or anything like that. Lego Indiana Jones, whatever you want to do, but don't put so many collectibles in for no reason. Family Guy Back to the Multiverse. This is just again, a pretty short platinum. There's only a couple of, like, I would say annoying trophies, like survive the 30 waves in multiplayer madness and getting the 21 stars in the challenge mode are probably the toughest tests. But outside of that, if you like Family Guy, this is worth playing because it's funny. It's just funny. Cars 2, the best Cars game. That's pretty much all I have to say. The best Cars game that released, no question. Actually a fun video game. Daxter, one of the best PSP games. Glad it finally came to PS5. Really easy platinum. I think this was a one and done stream. Yeah, if you've never played Daxter before, I do recommend it. It's a really good spin-off. Race-O-Rama, genuinely awful video game. I hated it. Got low FPS. There's no speed to the driving. You have to do the Guido controls terribly. Like, it's just a bad game. Necromunda Hired Gun, that is in the 40k universe, sort of like a Doom 2016 style of meets like Titanfall style of shooter, and one I cannot recommend highly enough. I think it's really enjoyable, and if you're a fan of the aesthetic of 40k and you like the gameplay of like a Doom 2016, I think you could really have a lot of fun here. The hardest thing in this game is to rank all of the missions, and once you upgrade yourself completely, which you can do after a couple of replays, that's really easy. Wolverine trophies. This was a lot of fun to revisit. It really, like, I had a lot of fun going back and playing this game. I didn't love that I had to play it twice just to unlock the hard, like I had to play it once just to unlock the hard difficulty. And the grind to get like the 2,000 enemies, the raised all combat reflexes, maxed out all upgrades. Like, I didn't love that aspect. As a hack and slasher, it's the best Wolverine game. Deadpool. This was a lot of fun. Again, those last two missions on where is it? On Ultraviolence can suck my balls. They were so infuriating. Really funny game. I'd never played it before. I'm glad I finally played it, but some annoying trophies, but overall a fun enough game. Then we have Cars 3, which for an 18-hour platinum, this game dragged on to the point where I would put this below Race-O-Rama. It is so bad. Do not play it. It's basically it's Cars 2, looks a bit nicer, but drags on for 4 times as long. It's terrible. Saw, a really easy platinum. What was this? 2 streams I think it took. It's just basically hit and kill an enemy with every weapon, and like the stomping one was the hardest part because it's so unreliable. But outside of that, I really enjoyed this game. I had a lot of fun with the first Saw. Gollum, what a mistake this was, eh? Now, Gollum, the worst platinum I've gone after for completing the game without dying alone. The game itself being bad isn't this game's worst offense. It's the fact that you had to do it, even with cheesing it, it is so miserable. But the fact I had to play it twice was bad. Saw 2 is like, they almost could have been better than Saw 1. And then they just said, we don't know how to make the combat not clunky, and we don't really care about the story. So this one, I mean, it's another easy platinum, but yeah, not as fun as the first game. And then this Alan Wake was number 100. Not really much else I can say. I've said it multiple times on this channel, but you know, Remedy, they just know how to make a video game. They just do. I don't love having to play the game once just to unlock Nightmare difficulty, but outside of that and some of the collectible stuff, like the platinum itself is pretty good. Now the Signal and the Rider, having to beat both of those without dying, stressful for no reason, but yeah, that was a good way to cap off 100 platinums. We got the Toy Story games. I do still have all these recordings. I do plan on making a video on these at some point, but yes, we platinumed Toy Story 2, one of my childhood favorites on the PS1 and holds up really well today. Toy Story Mania, a terrible game. Do not play it. It's 3 or 4 hours of wasted life, truly is. Toy Story 3 on the PSP, which I didn't enjoy at all. Wukong from when I played the wrong Wukong game, which was surprisingly a lot of fun. I don't know why. It just reminded me of the old school PlayStation platformers, but it was fun enough for an hour or so. And Toy Story 3, which I think is probably the best Toy Story game with one of the worst platinums out of all 4 for the fact you have to collect all the gold stars alone. There is some collectibles in here that are miserable to go after and get dragged on for far too long. But as a game, I really did enjoy it. It just ruined itself right at the collect all the gold stars trophy. Call of Duty World at War, the hardest platinum I've gone after to date, without question. That veteran campaign is turns boys to men. It really does. The grenade spam is crazy on it. But again, it's still like an under 20-hour platinum if you it's just about perseverance in that veteran campaign and eventually you'll get it done. That's really about it. But it was a lot of fun revisiting World at War because I do regard it as one of my favorite Call of Duties. Yeah, Far Cry 3 Classic Edition, the most recent video we've done. I said it all recently, so I won't repeat myself, but a good time, you know. I really enjoyed revisiting Far Cry 3. There's some annoying parts like the collectible stuff, and liberating all the outposts kind of gets old, but outside of that, it's still one of the best Far Cry games, without question. And the last platinum we have Fall Guys, which I couldn't do a video on because most of these platinums trophies were auto pops from my time. I played a disgusting amount of this game on Xbox. No, the only 2 I needed was win 5 episodes in a row and get first place in racing rounds 20 times. 2 pretty difficult trophies. Win 5 episodes in a row is very dependent on the playlist you can find. You'd be a fool to try and do it legit, honestly. Just in 5 knockouts in a row would be crazy. And getting first place in racing rounds 20 times took way longer than I was expecting, but again, Fall Guys is just a really fun game. I love Fall Guys, and I think that's no secret. But just like that, that's my 108 platinum collection. My voice is going, so I won't drag this out any longer. Thank you all so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below to let me know what is, in your opinion, the best platinum I have. Go check out my Twitch if you want to see some of these platinum journeys live. Shout out to the channel members and Twitch subscribers for that extra level of support. And special thanks to the members of the Bear Club, G&T Papi, Nugget, Dark Wolf, Daniel Fitzgerald, Scott Unwin, Steel Vanguard, NPO Crusader, and Lug Knights. Thank you all, it really does mean a lot to me. Make sure to check out the Discord, the VOD channel, and the new review channel, links in the description, and I'll catch you in the next one.